I feel like women need to do a fact check. When you meet these guys and they all saying, oh, my baby mama crazy. She don't let me see my child. Fact check their butt, because I'm sure my child's father is telling some woman that, and that is the furthest thing from the truth.
No.
So we did our whole episode about dating single moms. And, you know, we kind of hashed out all the issues regarding dating single moms. So now it's time to get on the guys. So dating men with kids, that's a huge thing too, right? Because obviously these women who are single moms are having kids with guys. So they're single, right? And so let's talk about some of the things. What's kind of been our experience dating men with children, right? Jahan, tell me, have you dated men with kids?
I've dated someone with a kid, yes.
Okay, so pretty much one person so far? Yes. Okay, and do you notice that there's a difference? Like, what's been your experience dating them versus men without kids?
It wasn't really, I can't really give you like a solid answer for that, sorry, because the child was not, first of all, the child didn't live in the US, so I couldn't, you know, have the experience of them interacting and so forth and blah, blah, blah. But I will say that personal preference, I choose not to date men with kids.
Why?
Do you have kids?
No, I don't.
That's it.
Okay, I can understand that then.
So why? Why not, Jahan?
Baby mamas.
Not even. I just, Nikki, come on, man.
You agreed to be on the show. You got to talk about it. Why you don't want guys with kids?
I'm gonna be judged.
Excuse me, Thaddeus and Rudy told us all about why they're not gonna date us. So please,
this is an open space.
I think it's because, okay, let me be 100% transparent.
Thank you.
I know that I am a selfish person, right? Mm-hmm. And when I say selfish,
you want your own attention.
Not really attention, but in the sense, I don't want us to be sharing our finances with your child.
Okay, so it's more of a household thing for you. You want to build your own household and contribute to your own.
So unless it's your child, if it's your child, it's okay.
Of course.
Unless it's your
child. Again?
I said unless it's your child, then you're okay with it.
If it's our child. Like I've always been that type of person. Like I never wanted to bring kids into this world without being married. That has always been my thing, like from a young child. So I feel like I have done all what I could, you know, to never get myself pregnant and stuff like that. Like I did what I should. So I worked hard, right? I deserve someone without a kid. I deserve a guy that comes to, you know, like, hey, it's just me, baby.
That's a good one.
And again, what happened?
This is a good thing that she feel that way because it's a high probability that she would find somebody. Only 40% of men ever reproduce. Only 40%. Historically.
True, that is true. That's an overall fact.
So you can go back and check it.
Most men don't want kids.
Exactly.
Going back to what Jahan said about her experience with the one guy that does have kids, that the kid is not where the father is, that's a huge thing that I wanted to bring up, because I feel like a lot of the men that I meet that do have kids, the kid is living in like a totally different state. And when you talk to the guy asking him like, why, what happened? Oh, you know, the mom wanted to go pursue this job here, or, oh, this and all that. And it's like, okay, why? Your child needs you. And I feel like there's absolutely no excuse. If you need to be where your kid is. You need to fight to be where your child is.
But it doesn't always work like that.
And I feel that, hold on, let me finish. And I feel like women, you know, are so accepting of that because it's so prevalent. But I really have a big issue with this. If I meet a guy and he can be in the kid's life, but chooses to let the kid go and not be around them, this is a big problem I'm seeing here, especially in the US.
Believe it or not, that was a major reason why I decided not to continue with that relationship. Okay. Because I was open to accept being a stepmom or whatever you want to call it, I was very much open. That's the situation I was in at the time. But it bothered me. It bothered me that you're not raising your child. Like when I tell you it bothered me, that bothered me. Like
I agree with you. The biggest thing when it comes to dating someone else who has kids, at least when it comes to me, like my girl right now, she has 2 kids. And I tell her the biggest thing I respect about her is her relationship with her kids' fathers. Because they have open access to their children. She doesn't get in the way of them being a father. If they want to come pick up the kid, they can. So for the simple fact that she's like that with her kid, I love her for that because she doesn't get in the way. She understands and how to separate her own relationship from her relationship with them. But I will tell you this, a lot of the men who are not there, I will stick up for them and say, I never understood why men would abandon their kids. I don't stand for that as a man. Any man that would abandon his kids, lose my respect off rip. But now that I'm in a situation where I'm not there, I'm fighting to be present. Most men don't abandon their kids. They abandon the baby moms.
I'm gonna tell this card. Look, listen.
They abandon. The thing is this: most baby moms don't understand how to separate themselves from the father being there for the kid.
Look, you got someone you could ask. I understand exactly what you're saying, my brother.
You see what I'm saying? I feel you, man.
They even have a term for it. It's called single parent isolation.
Yes.
Where they have the other parent brainwash about the other parent, and because usually the mother gets the child, they sit there all day long and talk smack about the dad.
Exactly.
Even though you're still paying your child support, you're still doing everything, and they want to make it seem like you're
worthless or you're not. It's like a false. They want to be a single mother, but they're not. And they don't even understand how they're not a single mom.
Right. And then on top of it, they try to make the kid against you. And the problem is the kid can't make any real discernment until much later in life, which is like 20 or 30 years, 20 years and after good therapy. That you
exactly.
I understand that. However, so I agree that does exist. But I agree that there is a large portion of men that because it doesn't work out with the woman, the child suffers. I know women, not only me, but I know other women as well. Because the guy can't have the woman, the guy is not present in the child's life. And they feel that they can just explain it away when the kid grows up as to why they weren't present in their life. But there is no
because the guy can't have the woman.
A child why you are not there when you could be there. Right. I feel like women need to do a fact check when you meet these guys and they all saying, oh, my baby mama crazy. She don't let me see my child. Fact check their butt, because I'm sure my child's father is telling some woman that, and that is the furthest thing from the truth.
No. There's a spectrum. There's a spectrum of this, Nicole. There's a spectrum of women when it comes to men, right?
Yes.
In that spectrum, right, you have the good fathers who want to be there, willingly trying to be there, fighting against a bitter woman.
Yes.
Then you have the opposite end of the spectrum. The man who wanted the woman, thought he can catch the baby to trap the woman, and then leaves when the woman don't want him. They're both in the spectrum. And then you have everybody in the middle. But the part that kills me is the good fathers. Because the only person who loses in this whole situation is the child and the good fathers.
So you see why I don't want, personally, I don't want to date a guy.
I understand why, but it's just like, it all depends on the dynamic of you and the other person. Because if you met a guy who had a kid, had his things together, paid his child support, saw his kid, and you saw him raising his son, just by what you said right now, by your own definition, you wouldn't have a problem with that because he's taking care of his business.
But you know what? I would rather him not be in a situation where he have to pay child support. I would rather it be that they never had to go to court. That
child support is not his choice.
The relationship between me and the child's mother is so good that they didn't have to go to court with taking care of that child.
That's a unicorn.
Yeah, that's a unicorn for real.
Is that a dream?
It can happen. It happens with me. Okay. So the thing is that it seems like both of you on the line are more the ones that do have kids. Daryl and Sheldon are more of the present type of father who actually wants to do the right thing, but there are a lot of fathers.
Yes, there's bad apples.
Right. Oh, of course.
Of course, we know that. There's deadbeat dads out there all the time.
Out there that when women like me meet a guy and they have all these excuses as to why their child is not close, you know, in a proximity where they can actually be involved and they're not really an active part of their life. I want women to stop giving guys passes on that. If the guy can actually be involved and he's not, just like they be trying to look at us as single moms like we
I agree with you, Nikki. And I agree.
Accountable. So the next thing I wanted to talk about in this whole thing of, you know, absenteeism and the father not being in the picture is the whole thing of, okay, they're not in the picture, they're not keeping in touch. So when the child grows up and the child isn't close to them, they're not communicating with them and they're trying to form that connection. Again, I don't see how, you know, even in my experience growing up, I grew up with both parents, but you know, there was conflict or what have you. And then they broke up when I was, I think 12 or so, I don't know. But the whole point is that I so gravitated towards my mom, you know what I mean? And if I didn't speak to my dad for months, a year, it wasn't all that. It didn't mean that much, you know what I mean? As opposed to my mom, because she was there. So I feel like men are thinking, oh, you know, a lot of men that I hear where their kids live afar, it's like, oh, she only calls me when she needs something. Like, I don't feel like she's really calling to connect on a normal basis. And that's why, even though they love you, because I still love my dad, but the fact that he wasn't there, that, you know, that bond or that connection or that drive to want to call them and be around them all the time is not there because they're not in the picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying, is that the responsibility of one parent or both? Because my belief is this: when you have a child, regardless of the differences between mother and father, both parents are supposed to put that difference aside to raise the child right.
Right. So
if the dad hasn't been there, right? I get that. Dads haven't been there, but he decides to show up later on in life. Realistically, I would expect the mother to educate their child, not talk bad about the father, but educate their child in saying, hey, he wasn't there before, whatever, hear what he has to say, and be a positive and support system for the child to still build that relationship. Because at any point in life, the child will still need the other parent.
I hear you, but I have it
at a certain age that child is not going
that's
to.
the thing. But I already have it in my mind that I'm ready to tell him off when she turned 18. I'm not even gonna lie. Right now, I'm being nice. I'm not saying anything bad about him. But you best believe when she get old enough, I'm going to school her on how a man is supposed to be, because I don't want her to accept this for her life. I don't want her. I
agree with that. Completely agree with that.
What a dad is. So right now, because she's young, I'm not saying anything, but you best believe when she get old enough, I'm going to let her know this is how a man is supposed to be there for your child. And I'm not going to, you know, help him explain away his absence.
Oh, no. I don't expect him to. I expect the relationships that you go into in the future to show your child what that example is.
Yeah.
If you date someone else now and you bring them into the picture, that person is supposed to be the best example of what unity is supposed to be. So I concur what you're saying. I agree with it.
Jahan, what were you going to say?
So for any dads who are watching, let me give my personal experience. Mommy, I love you, but you know you did it. My mother did everything in her power for us not to really have a strong connection with our dad. Like, she would tell us everything bad about him. He this, he that, blah, blah, blah. And my dad made it an effort. My father would come around every time. My father would call, you're going to church today, make sure you go to church. Don't let me hear you're not in church. Like, he showed up every time. To a day like today, we have an amazing relationship, right? But I'm telling you, I don't know, my mother did everything. You hear what I'm saying? Everything. She said everything, did everything she could for us, for me not to see him in a different light.
But that's a personal battle for her then.
Say that again?
That's a personal battle between her to work out her differences with him.
So what I'm saying is
but he still suffers the consequences.
Exactly. That's the part that's wrong.
Hold on. Let Jahan finish. Go ahead, Jahan.
What I'm saying is for the guys who face baby mamas who are like that, don't make that an excuse. Show up.
Yeah,
Go to the school. Go to find out what the birthday party is.
Hey, Nicole, when you asked, how do you know? Let me tell you, I kept every paperwork since every time I went to court. So, because I knew one day my kids would know how to read, and they would know. I could say, you know what? Instead of hearing what I have to say, here's what I submitted to the courts. But I have to wait 20 years, hand over a red folder that my ex-wife never wanted to see me give the kids to show that I wanted more time, with them, because they sit behind and act like, oh, you guys don't want to do anything when us fathers do want to do stuff.
I'm doing that same thing right now, keeping all of my paperwork to give it to them when they're older.
Don't do anything, and then they try to get their dads to replace us. You can never replace a father.
You can't.
Ever.
But especially one that wants to be there.
You can't beat the court system. You get tired. You get tired of all the stuff the kids don't understand, and you get tired on Father's Day, no phone calls. You get tired on Christmas, no love, no respect, and it's a real struggle. It causes depression on that, and you still have to be the man hearing that, and then you look around and everybody else's kids are smiling, and you're the one having it. So sometimes these mamas just don't do the right thing.
Yes.
And then we expect our kids to get, when they get to be old enough to stand up, sometimes they've been so ingrained that they don't even know really what to do because they're still under the influence, whether it's financial, whether they live with them, and it's until much later. So you got to look at, I got divorced when my daughter was like 2, and up until now, like she's 22 years old, she was still under her mother's influence, but it's only because she had to go to therapy and become a strong woman that she understood that it wasn't always true. But not all kids do that. I still have to struggle with my firstborn, which is her brother, because he still wants to think I'm the bad man, because that's how ingrained this stuff is.
Telling you, it's deep.
It's Nikki. I'll give you an example. I'll give you a real example.
Yes.
Once me and his mom separated, my son's 3rd, 4th birthday, right? Mm-hmm. His mom threw a birthday party. Didn't tell me because we were separated. My son comes to me and he goes, "Daddy, how come you didn't show up for my birthday party?"
How do you explain
as a father who's trying to be there, do you know how gut-wrenchingly hard and heartbreaking it is to have to apologize to your child for something that you didn't even do? But you have to apologize for the simple fact that you can't make his mom look bad. I couldn't sit there and tell my son, "Oh, your mom didn't tell me you were having a birthday," because that makes her look bad. I would get in trouble for that. So I have to just tell him, "Babu, I'm sorry that Daddy couldn't show up because I didn't know." So, and then when I look at her and she wants me to give her that respect of being baby moms and this and that and the third, what respect do you deserve? Because I'm constantly being put in a situation where I have to apologize to my child for not showing up for something that I didn't even know was happening because she hides it.
Look, I had the same thing. I'll tell you even worse. My son graduated from college, and I didn't even know he graduated. See? No invitation was ever sent to me. I lived in another state. We hadn't been talking because of the single parent isolation. And then I got to hear that, I graduated, got my AA and was going on to the next college. And this is the thing that women don't understand, how, this is my firstborn is a son,
I have a firstborn son too, so I feel you.
And then on top of it, you always have one side of the family that loses. So, all my mother, my father, they never got to see him. She wouldn't, if I wasn't there, I had to go to another state to make money so I could pay for my child support and give them the life that was going on. But then, like I said, if you're not there, they don't tell you about anything. Yes. I didn't even know that they had gone to therapy until years later in the life.
To back up what you said,
this is the kind of thing that we never talk about as society, is a father's struggle.
I think it's a great conversation. I'm so happy that we were able to see from the male side as well, the fathers who do want to be there. And I'm glad we addressed some of the other concerns as well. So this is really a big topic. So guys who are watching, single fathers who are watching, women who are thinking of dating guys with kids, take all of this into account and really think about you know, how detrimental this whole situation can be in terms of single fathers and absenteeism. Your final words while we wrap it up?
To abandon a child by a man is not natural. It's not normal.
Right.
It's not part of our genetic makeup. Like, for you to do that, there has to be something wrong. And a lot of times, because simply put, guys did not want to be burdened with a child at that time. When they were having sex, it was just for pleasure. And that's the problem. And to me, I know that we have these discussions, but I always like to give these a little bit of guidance to especially men who are not in this situation. Listen, if you don't want to make her wife, do not make her mother. It's
strap up twice, B. Raincoat.
Women.
Hey, I got a little formula for you, a little secret.
If you don't want to make her wife, do not make her mother.
To the women, giving a man a child is the highest honor that you can give.
Period.
Giving a man access to a womb is the highest honor that you can give.
What a violence.
Not give it to an idiot. Don't give it to a guy who's not ready for it. If you guys did not sit down and discuss, hey, do you want children? Do I want children? There are like 40-something methods of birth control. Choose one. Don't do it and then blame this guy because he doesn't want to be around. I could be honest and say that especially when I was younger, I was not ready to be a dad. So even if I had a kid, it would still be hard for me to be there for that kid because I don't want one.
But when it comes to kids too, though, it's just a difference in knowing the person as well, because not every woman's meant to be a mother, and not every man is meant to be a father.
Right.
So at the end of the day, make sure you don't have a baby with a woman who wasn't ready to be a mother, because it works the same way.
Okay, and then Hannah, final closeout. Tell me, you have anything to say?
I think the biggest thing if you're younger is not getting married too young and having children too young, because I think you're setting yourself up in a lot of ways to struggle financially. All the data supports it. I think you should be doing it and focusing on yourself first, because I see all these people that are like 21, getting engaged, getting married, having kids at 22. And I think, just slow down. There's COVID. Focus on yourself.
They don't really know who they are yet.
Focus on yourself and then have kids when you're ready for that discussion. But don't jump into that. Just because everybody else is doing it, don't do it. That's not a good idea.
No more COVID babies.
School,
no COVID babies.
Get a job.
I'm gonna tell them.
Okay, thank you all
That's good
so
advice.
much for joining this conversation. It was a very, very good conversation. Again, if you guys like this video, like, subscribe, tell us how you think, and let's give it up for our guests, Thaddeus, Sheldon, Jahan, Hannah, Daryl. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you next time on My Comfy Couch. Toodles. Yeah. Jahan, help me with the toodles.